Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, from Lima Shenanigans of 1977, it's Tuesday, and you know what that means. It's time for the NXT Event Center Wrestling Report. And now here's the man that will bring you all the wrestling happenings from the WWE Superstars of tomorrow, Eric M. Lima.
Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Lima Shenanigans in 1977. Episode number 2424. How's it going, everybody? Hope everyone is having had a blessed day today. Set on July the 29th, 2025, 10:24 p.m. I do apologize now if you guys are like, oh, where's the High Rollers? Check out, I did it Sunday. It's going to be part of the Trebek Twin Bill Tuesday special, obviously, even though, because I attended Jordy Scow's stream today, wishing him a happy birthday, celebrating his 30th birthday, and had a good time until Chicken came in and kind of roasted me and all that good stuff. He don't know how to treat me. That's the problem. He don't know me very well. You think you knew me from the internet? There's lots of things about me, man. Lots of things about me. And you just don't know. You say you jump to conclusions about me. That's my problem. That's my issue. Anyways, let's talk about what happened on NXT. Now, they did it on SmackDown. The SmackDown after the Hulkster died. They did it on Raw. But now they did it on NXT. A 10-bell salute and a tribute video to Hulk Hogan. You know, a lot of folks do not understand. And for those who are still hating on Hulk Hogan, you really do not understand that the professional wrestling business will not be where it is today if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. You wouldn't be cheering on the folks that wrestle that you loved. There would be no WCW, ECW, TNA, AEW, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. There would be no MLW. There would be none of the WWE. There would have been none of that. We wouldn't see not just Hulk Hogan. We wouldn't see Roddy Piper, Macho Man Randy Savage, The Ultimate Warrior, The Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Diesel, Bret the Hitman Hart, the British Bulldog, Owen Hart. We wouldn't see all these great superstars of the past and present today. I know a lot of them are no longer with us. The latest one was the biggest one, Hulk Hogan. And I think a lot of folks out there who are hating on Hulk Hogan should, I'm not forcing you to like the guy, all right? Listen, I'm not forcing anybody to like Hulk Hogan, okay? I'm just basically stating facts here, And if y'all still watching, and if y'all gonna hate on Hulk Hogan and forget what he has done in the past, then you're not truly big wrestling fans. You're just casual wrestling fans. I've grown up watching the Hulkster, Now here's the funny part. And I said this to myself, and I was talking to myself about how I go about this. That hey, know the cartoon Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling? Well, here's the thing. Only 3 people from that Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling are still alive. The only 3 people, Hillbilly Jim, Tito Santana, and Wendy Richter. All the others have gone on and passed away. Hulk Hogan being the latest. It's crazy. 5 of the biggest wrestling stars of the 80s have all passed away. Andre the Giant, Macho Man Randy Savage, The Ultimate Warrior, Roddy Piper, and now Hulk Hogan. And you know that rock and wrestling connection when it first started off? It's first, you remember the women's title match between Fabulous Moolah and Wendy Richter? Fabulous Moolah was represented by Captain Lou Albano. Wendy Richter was represented by, and Wendy Richter represented Cyndi Lauper. And then you got Hulk Hogan in the mix. The only 2 people left from that whole thing that are still alive is the ladies. Cyndi Lauper and Wendy Richter. Hey, the WWE wouldn't be where it is today. If it had not been for Hulk Hogan, the door to Hollywood wouldn't be open for all the other wrestlers. Guys like The Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, John Cena. Those guys. You know? So, to be totally honest, we should be grateful that Hulk Hogan gave us all the wrestling folks that we love today. And you know what? Whether you like it or not, Hulkamania is going to run forever, will live forever. It should be a concept of believing yourself, working hard, praying, and even training. Not just in the gym, per se, in everything you do in everyday life. Taking the vitamins thing, just be careful with that. Anyways, I got to give a shout out to folks in Orlando, Detroit. They've all, and where were we? Where were we past Monday Night Raw? I mean, on SmackDown. I know. Let me just check. Oh yeah, Cleveland, Detroit, and Orlando. I'm going to give those crowds a shout out for sure. Paying their respects, holding their signs, and guys did an awesome job. And to the WWE, awesome job in a tribute to Hulkster. You didn't go too far with it. You didn't go overboard with it. You did it just right. And I know some folks have shared their memories of Hulk Hogan on social media. I know Teddy Long did. I know Devon Dudley did. Maurice, Mrs. Wife did. I know Miz did. You know. I know some of my friends did. And shared their memories of the Hulkster. If I had a favorite Hulk Hogan moment on his reality show, it was when him and Brian Knobbs, did the human maze thing, and Knobbs was messing with Glenn in the bedroom, jumping on top of him, splashing him, and all that. And he's like, oh, and Glenn's like, oh, you know, and he'd cry. Oh, that was funny. And then I think it was another favorite Hulk Hogan moment on Hogan's Knows Best, where he was sitting down on the couch hanging out with his son Nick, and he laid out this humongous fart, and Nick just looks at him. It's like, Dad, what are you doing? And then another funny part is, I think Hulk Hogan's then wife Linda was afraid that their house is haunted or something like that, so they got this person to, do away with the spirits, and they walk around the house. They walked around the house outside doing some kind of chant, and Hulk Hogan's like, X-Pac, something like that. He mentioned X-Pac's name, did the DX crotch chop. It was pretty hilarious, but but my favorite Hulk Hogan matches, there's two of them. It was the one that really got me into wrestling full time was Hulk Hogan versus The Undertaker Survivor Series 1991, The Greatest Challenge for the championship, and Hulk Hogan versus The Rock at WrestleMania 18. Those two matches, they stand out in my mind. So, let's get right to it, huh? Let's get right to the now. Let's go to the now. NXT. Let's rock and roll with NXT. Fatal Influence got a promo before Jasmine Nix's match against Jada Parker. That happened, Jada Parker really getting popular with the fans. Miss Parker. Jada Parker, you got to have a lot of Friday references in there. Corey Graves got one of them. Miss Parker just don't know, and all that. And Miss Parker ended up winning that matchup. And Javon Evans talks to Drake Moreau and Shiloh Hills. Hey, remember what the Dead Man said? last week. He said, I'm taking that in mind. And then the high rise, yo, you had Triple H wear that goofy outfit into the ring against the Dead Man. And they're like, he just started talking smack. And then all of a sudden, and he listens in on Chase, on Chase U and Andre Chase. You got to go out with the biggest, and they had, so we have an idea. So, and he goes, that's right. Teach knows what's up, and and there's hey, well, we got to address Trick Williams right now, and they say, hey, do your thing, and say, hey, we have an idea. So, and then Javon Evans comes out to address what the Undertaker said to him, and he was about to call out Obafemi. He was about to challenge Obafemi. Trick Williams comes out. He says, I know you meant me and all that, and he said, no, didn't mention your big goofy butt. I meant Obafemi. And then the High Rise came out and interrupts, and Wesley kind of agreed what Javon Evans had to say, but then he starts dissing Javon Evans, but then he ends up punching Wesley. All four people jump on him. Nobody came to his aid, which I'm very, very surprised at. He says, I'll talk to Ava and we'll get this match popping. So, I think Javon Evans wanted to challenge him to a matchup. Challenge him. I'll start with him. Well, I'll start with him, and then you. And then they jumped. They jumped him. So that's how it is. And Wes says, I'll talk to Ava. And then Kale Dixie, Uriah Connors. These guys remind me of D-Generation X, dude. It's like 1, 2, and you go, and then we're about to attack with Steel. They're there. What are you doing there? And they're yelling at each other. Hey, we just want to tag team down a match. Put the chairs down. All you do is ask. We'll talk to Ava about it. And then Andre Chase is like, what are you guys doing with the chairs? And then we're about to match them. But all we had to do was ask for the tag team title shot. So he said, we'll talk to Ava about it. So. And then, so I thought that was hilarious. And Tavian Heights went one-on-one with Charlie Dempsey. In the stipulation of the match is this: if Charlie Dempsey wins, Tavian Heights still stays with the No Quarter Catch Crew. But however, should Tavian Heights wins, he leaves. So, and Ren Sinclair did not get involved in the matchup, and Tavion Heights ends up winning the matchup, so the No Quarter Catch Crew basically is no more. So that's good. Trick Williams talks to the High Rise about, Javon Evans about keeping the title, and then Santana Marella interrupts him. He says, you know what? We're not done. We're not done. That title is coming back home. But for right now, I'm a WWE superstar, and I'm challenging Ethan Page for the North American title. And during the Heights Dempsey matchup, Joe Hendry's face appeared. I was like, y'all saw that, right? Y'all saw that. So what does it mean exactly? Is Joe Hendry actually leaving TNA for the WWE? I don't know what the contract with Joe Hendry with TNA is. But I'll tell you one thing right now. Joe Hendry making another appearance on NXT. Come on now. It'll be great. So, anyways, Blake Monroe, looking very gorgeous as usual, addresses Jordynne Grace. And talking about how Jordynne Grace is not cover girl material or glamour material. But then Lola Vice interrupts Blake Monroe. But before Blake Monroe did that, Blake Monroe turns to the Booker T. I'm Blake Monroe. Remember the name, or you're going to end up in the hospital like Jordynne Grace. Okay, I'll explain. Because last week in Houston, Booker T mistakenly called Blake Monroe Monica Monroe, who is the Ladybird over on Reality of Wrestling, and that Booker T. So Booker T got his Monroes mixed up. So you got this. It is Blake Monroe. Anyways, so Lola Vice interrupts Monroe and said, hey, you're not going to be NXT champion, women's champion, and I thought, good. Blake Monroe and Lola Vice, I can get down with that. But then Jada Parker interrupts both women, saying that she is going to be at the top of the women's division. So, and then Jordan Grace's music played, and Blake Monroe's looking around. But then Keilani Jordan came out and said, hey, I thought it was the wrong Jordan that you wanted. And then Keilani Jordan goes, you had to get by me. And then all of a sudden, all four women brawl it out. Jada Parker brawled with Lola Vice, and Blake Monroe brawled with Keilani Jordan. That match is happening next week. Also, the tag team title match is happening next week. Then Tatum Paxton was talking to Izzy Dame about how they picked up the victory, picked up a huge victory, and then Sean Spears and Nico Vance was telling Tatum Paxton that she's going to challenge Sol Ruka for the NXT Women's North American title. And so, and Izzy Dame goes, since Zarya is going to be in her corner, I think we should be in her corner too. And Tatum Paxton's all happy about that. But as they walk away, Luca Cristofino came behind and said, no family lasts forever. That will not be the last time we see a former member of the Tony D'Angelo family. Anyways, Lash Legend addresses Fallon Henley as she heads to the ring to fight Fallon Henley. That match was happening. Both members of the Fatal Influence, JC Jane, the double champ, and Jasmine Nix got involved. And as Lash Legend took care of JC Jane, out of nowhere, Nia Jax gets involved. Well, it seems like the Joe Hendry effect is now in full effect, if you think about it. If you say someone's name, they're going to appear. And Lash Legend decided to mention and talk smack to Nia Jax. Nia Jax, well, gave her what for, and Fallon Henley ended up winning the match, thanks to Nia Jax interfering. If Fatal Influence gets to recruit her, tell you one thing, they replace Jasmine Nix. Let's just say this: Jasmine Nix loses another matchup, replace her with Nia Jax. I'm telling you, that'll feed. You know what I mean? So, anyways, then they were watching the title match, the triple threat title match, and Josh Briggs was getting upset. He says, "Yeah, they screwed me. This is my opportunity." He starts running, and then Stax talks to Josh Briggs, gives him advice. People like Nikita Lyons and Ariana Grace were sitting down and everything else, and all of a sudden, Yoshiki Inamura comes out, confronts Briggs. Everybody trying to separate those two as Yoshiki Inamura got a little bit high-headed. And then Stax goes, there's no honor around here, no family and all that. The families don't last. And then all of a sudden, Yoshiki Inamura looks at Stax, about had enough, smacks him so hard, he says, I'll show you honor next week. I'll tell you what, and Ariana Grace, of all people, asks Stax if he's okay, and Stax kind of looks at her. You don't know? If you know, now you know. Although Nikita Lyons looks gorgeous still. Hello. Anyways, Trick Williams joined on commentary for the next match. It was a heck of a matchup between Javon Evans and Wesley. Holy mackerel. Get these two guys and get a championship and put it in a ladder. Put it on top of a ladder. Get a ladder match going. You know. And let these two guys cook, man, because they were great. You know, the High Rise tried to get involved, distracting him a couple of times, but in the end, Javon Evans wins with a cutter off the top rope. And as you know, Trick Williams was talking smack to Javon Evans, and all of a sudden, Obafemi's on the balcony holding his title, and Obafemi knows that Javon Evans wants to be. So once again, they're going to probably run it back between those three. Somebody's going to walk away with 2 belts if that match gets made. Heatwave's coming around the corner. So, you're talking about this. A few days after SummerSlam, you get Heatwave, man. Trust me. So, Vic Joseph had a sit-down interview with Miles Bourne about his condition being deaf and all, and how he's able to read lips and all. I'll tell you one thing. I think he's doing more than just reading lips with Stephanie Vaquer, if you know what I mean. So, Miles Bourne, though, yeah, you got to be proud of the guy. I mean, the guy never let his deafness stop him from fulfilling his dreams of being a professional wrestler in the WWE. I think Miles Bourne should get a lot of credit and a lot of respect. And but somebody doesn't think so. While Ava was talking to Stevie Turner and Robert Stone talked about the condition of Ricky Starks. He said he'll be back in no time. And Stevie Turner addressed Jordan Grace and said she'll be all right for the time being. She'll have to wear a neck brace. Then Lexis King said, you heard what Miles Bourne say? He's a phony, he's a charlatan and all that. And then Ava about had enough of Lexis King and said, you know what? You'll have your match against him next week. And then he goes, fine. I'll expose him. Hey, Lexis King, he is actually deaf, man. You ding-dong. But you know what? He can read lips. And not only that, he's a very, very smart young man. And not only that, he's dating Stephanie Vaquer. So why don't you, Lexis King, put that in your pipe and smoke it, you dude, white dingle nut, dingleberry. Hey, Lexis King, quit concerning yourself. Oh yeah, in the words of The Miz and John Morrison, hey, Lexis King, when it comes to Miles Bourne, be jealous. Anyways, Fatal Influence was addressing their matchup. They were still upset with Jasmine Nix losing her match, but Fallon Henley says at least 1 out of 2 ain't bad. But then Nia Jax cuts them both off, cuts all 3 of them off, and does a little trash talking to Lash Legend. It seems like a match between Lash Legend and Nia Jax. That will go. Hey, Nia, you forget that Lash Legend body slammed Otis. Hopefully Otis is okay. And the North American Championship on the line, Ethan Page against the TNA Director of Authority, Santino Marella. And Ethan Page ended up winning it with a thumb to the eye and a pinfall. But then, like I said, like I told you before, we haven't heard the last of the former D'Angelo family. Well, the last person at the end. Tony D'Angelo was sitting down, about to be served dinner. Waiter gives him a glass of wine. He says, "Here you go, Don." He says, "Don't call me the Don anymore. Tony D will be fine." But then a shadow went over him, and he looked up. Who approached him? Was it Darkstate? Was it the Undertaker? Or was it somebody else? Someone else ominous? Who knows? And then, during that title matchup between Ethan Page and Santino Marella, he appeared again. What's the story with Joe Hendry's contract with TNA? Is he actually on his way to the WWE? If so, this could be interesting for sure. But we don't know what the story is with the TNA contract with Joe Hendry. We will soon find out. Well, that is all the time we have on this show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2424 of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. Tomorrow we got the Joker's Wild, we got Evolve, and we got AEW Dynamite. A women's tag team match will happen tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite as the Timeless One, Toni Storm, the AEW Women's World Champion, will team up with Alex Windsor, joining forces against the team of Athena, the Ring of Honor Women's Champ, and the former inaugural Women's World Television Champion, Billie Starkz. I say former, so that's the key there. Right now, I believe both the television champ, Red Velvet, and the interim television champ, Mina Shirakawa, are both out with injuries, and when they come back, I'm sure a new undisputed women's television champ will be crowned. So we'll see what happens there. So that's all the time there is. Thank you for tuning in. And until the next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and Do It for Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution.
Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.